Welcome to the Sports Betting Preview Show, a pregame.com podcast. This is segment 1 of 3, Big Game Preview. What we're going to do is we're going to preview the Butler Michigan State game, and then we're going to, in a later video, preview West Virginia and Duke. And in our third and final video, we're going to actually give you a free pick from Vegas Runner and myself. I am Marco D'Angelo, joined as always by Vegas Runner. We're coming to you live from the pregame.com studios here in Las Vegas. It's Final Four week. We're going to preview Michigan State and Butler as we do each and every week. VR, hit me up with the numbers.
All right, this one opened up Butler as a 1.5 point favorite and the total 126. As of this morning, we're looking at the same thing pretty much all across the board. I have seen a couple books drop to 1, go back to 1.5. So very little movement as far as the side or the total goes for this game.
Well, to set the stage for this game, we've got 2 number 5 seeds, Michigan State and Butler. I think, honestly, the bigger surprise to be here, and it's going to sound strange to say, is the Michigan State team. Even though they were a team that was played in the national championship last year, they lost some people. This wasn't supposed to be Michigan State's year.
No, they lost the Big Ten championship game to Minnesota. So when they came into the tournament, no one was that high on Michigan State. Everyone kept saying they have Izzo. It's as far as Izzo could take them. But, no one expected this team to get to the Final Four. I understand what you're saying as far as them being a surprise. I agree with you.
And you hit the nail on the head. This team's going to go as far as Izzo takes them. I'm going to say it right now, and listen to me closely. Tom Izzo may be the best college basketball coach in the country, and he just flies under the radar.
Oh, big time, dude.
Because he's not flashy. His teams are going to play your games in the 60s. You're not going to have the 80 point up and down the floor type games that you're going to see maybe with a Kentucky or flashy team.
He's going to play defense.
He's going to play defense. It's going to be hardcore. And to be honest with you, when Michigan
State,
State
point guard like he always does.
He always has a good point guard, and this guy just flat out knows how to
win. Do you know that before this year's team that's in the Final Four now, every 4-year starter coming into this year of this Michigan State team has played in a Final Four? So if you played for Tom Izzo 4 years, you have gone to a Final Four. That's incredible. His first 2 years in the league, 2 NITs. Since then, he's made the tournament every single year, man. That's huge, dude. That's huge.
It is. And like I said, the guy just doesn't get enough credit. Why? Because, like I said, his teams don't win flashy. And this says it all. They've won 4 games to get to Saturday, to the Final Four. They won the 4 games by a total of 13 points.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And what were 2 of them?
4 wins, 13 points total, and they've won the 4 games.
It makes sense, though. Their last 3 games was no higher than a 2-point spread. They were either a 1-point dog or a 1.5 point favorite. More a dog, 1.5 point dog. There were coin flips in every game, whether they should even be here or not. This wasn't a team that was favored, not even in their second round in third game, or the Sweet 16, or the Elite 8. So, that tells you they're not supposed to be here as far as the odds makers are concerned.
Now, on the flip side, we've got a Butler team. And, Butler is like, the little engine that cooks.
Yep. No height.
They're the small school. You're going to... I can't, you have to do it. You're going to hear the reference 100 times at least this week. They're going to talk about one of the greatest sports movies of all time.
Yeah, Hoosiers.
Gene Hackman and Hoosiers. I'll be honest, we're taping on Tuesday. I talked about it on our This Week in Vegas podcast. Monday night, my fiance never saw the movie Hoosiers. I sat her down and said, "You're watching this movie
Time to
tonight."
Watch Hoosiers.
And it's just this is the story. I mean, not only the fact that they actually filmed the championship game, at their university, right, and the picture's still on the wall, the championship team from Hoosiers, but they're playing this game 10 minutes from their
Yeah,
their home,
6 miles.
It's crazy. But I don't look at Butler as a Cinderella.
No, even with their young coach. The guy, he got 50 wins in 56 games.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You take over a team, you get your 50th win by your 56th game. So obviously, the guy knows how to win, man. And he's doing it with a young team. I don't care how people say, he took over a team that was already on the rise. Lick Litter, whatever his name is, had already made Butler what they are. This guy's pushing 3 sophomores out there. So, obviously, this kid knows how to coach. I give them all the credit in the world. I'm happy a team like Butler has been able to get this far. I don't compare him to that George Mason team of 2 years back, 3 years back. I think George Mason was more of a surprise than Butler is.
Absolutely. How can you say Butler's truly a surprise when they were preseason top 10?
Yeah, and
ESPN had them 10.
Exactly.
AP had them 11.
Exactly.
Preseason.
Exactly.
And you win the final 24 games in a row.
And they had the second toughest non-conference schedule in all of college basketball. So this team is for real, any way you look at it. They play defense like very few teams can. And for a team of this size that lacks so much height to be able to get this far is incredible. And I think going against Michigan State, that's a big plus for them that they're not going against a huge team. Imagine if they had to face a team that was real tall and real athletic. Right. I think then they might be in some trouble. But as long as nobody towers over them, and they could play their slow ball, their slow tempo, and not get overwhelmed inside the paint and hit from the outside, this team will be just fine and they could get to the national championship. But if Izzo comes up with a plan, like he always does, especially in the second half, don't be surprised, this Michigan State team.
Well, both teams are fundamentally sound coaching-wise. That's the key, and that's something that makes maybe a team that's a little bit inferior or lack depth be an equalizer is when you don't make mistakes. You're not throwing possessions away. They make every possession count, and they're able to slow the game down. And when you slow the game down, that slows the number of possessions for both teams, and they do things right. So this is going to be a very interesting game. We'll have a free pick in our segment 3. This was just giving you the 360 view of this game from both sides of the coin, looking at it from the Michigan State side and looking at it from the Butler side. So we'll be back with an official pick in this game in segment 3. Coming up in segment 2, we're going to break down West Virginia and Duke, which a lot of people will look at that game and say that is for the national championship.
More or less.
Because, who comes out of that game should go on and beat whoever they face.
Or they'll be favored to at
least.
They
will be favored to, absolutely. So this is going to wrap up segment 1 of 3. If you're watching us on YouTube, obviously check out our other videos. But if you want to download and listen, you can always go to iTunes. Just search pregame.com and you'll find all of our podcasts. Download, listen at your convenience. This has been segment 1. I'm Marco D'Angelo. He's Vegas Runner. We'll be right back with segment 2.